Hi. Thanks for popping back in. It's Brooke. For those of you that are just joining, I have been live authoring a thing. I don't know if you can really call it a book. Maybe it's that. Perhaps it's that. It's a journey, for sure. So this is that. It's fantasy memoir. For many, it will ring as true. For other people, it will be pure fantasy. However, I do invite you, anytime that you are experiencing any kind of text or video or audio, if you can put yourself into the character, if you can put yourself into the scene and into the plot, and you can look at your reality and your life through a different perspective, you will find that you can create shifts in your physical existence and in your physical body and in what's possible for you with an ease and a grace that is nothing less than magical. Okay? All right, so today's conversation, we're talking about this land of Oz. Oz. When I named this place, I guess I kind of have to tell you a little bit about what this place is. This place called Oz is not what it seems. This place called Oz has this shine and this appeal. It has this kind of, the word for it these days is like bougie, right? Kind of essence. And Oz is often brightly lit with bright colors and shiny things that are designed to grab your attention. Oz is a place where, it's a place of tradition. Oz is a place where people fall in line and do what they're told and fit into their role, and they very much play a role and act a part within the system in this place called Oz. And Oz is just, it's a state of mind. It's a state of being. It's a paradigm and a perspective of the world that then causes the world to show up in that way. Now, if y'all have watched The Wizard of Oz, which is kind of where I get this title from, this name from, as I was playing with it, it's like, well, what is Oz? Well, Oz is a production studio. Oz is an inversion. It's a deception. It is nature flipped on its head, defiling nature. It's perverted. That's what Oz is. Oz is constructed out of loops of trauma that play on repeat and keep the people in Oz forever entrapped. Oz is a place of enmeshment and coercion and manipulation and greed. It's held together with walls of fear and judgment and trauma. That is Oz. Oz is the pile of shit with sprinkles on it. It is the lipstick on the pig. It looks good from the surface, but when you get into the underpinnings and you see how the machinery and the mechanism of it really works, it is sordid, and it is twisted, and it is morbid, and it is macabre. That is Oz. See, Oz is propped up with clever marketing, clever media. Oz is held together with a web of lies, and it is by design designed to keep the people of Oz small, subservient, and weak. Oz is designed to actually, it's a power plant. It is a power plant that siphons energy from the people of Oz and feeds it to the puppeteers. It is a false matrix. It is a construct. It is a computer system. It's an operating system that has been installed into the human beings in this land that I'm creating, I'm writing about. So today I want to talk about Oz, and I want to talk about this crazy thing called Defy or duplicate that happens in the land of Oz. And like I said, if you can plug yourself into the character, if you can plug yourself into the scene and you can begin to apply it to your life, you will see ripple after ripple of breakthrough after breakthrough in areas that used to break you. So dive on in and join me. See, in Oz, you're born an infinite being. An infinite being of magnitude, interdimensional, powerful beyond belief, tapped in, tuned in, directly connected to the deepest part of yourself and the infinite source. You are born whole, perfect, and complete in this land called Oz. But you are born in a helpless human body. One of the most weak, one of the most dependent bodies in all of the animal kingdom in this realm called Earth, in the land called Oz. See, in the animal kingdom, in the Earth realm, the animal mamas are born with an instinct of how to care for their young. And typically, the very vast majority of animal kingdom mamas and papas know exactly how to do so. And the babies are born with innate traits and instincts and defensive mechanisms that allow themselves to be protected from the start. If you watch the birth of a horse is born and within minutes it is up and walking. That is by design, by nature. But as a human being, by design and by your nature is to actually, though you're born whole, perfect, and complete. Oh, thank you for the water, Bean.
No problem.
I appreciate you.
I filled it up with more water all the way to the top, so
thank you.
It's 5
okay.
minutes all the way to the top.
Thank you so much for that, for keeping me hydrated. I'll see you in a few minutes. I love you.
I love you.
I love her. So, you're born into this human body. And in the human system, in this earth realm, because you're born in this helpless body, you actually have to look outside of yourself for how to get along in the world. The same thing as the animal kingdom, right? Like the horse gets up and walks, but then the horse actually watches mama horse for what to do. It's by design. It's necessary. It's how we actually pass how to get along in these physical bodies on this plane along to our young. We show them. Now, unfortunately, for a lot of humans in this land called Oz, they were born to not so healthy family systems. Unfortunately, fortunately, I don't know, whatever. Humans, we are the tree of knowledge. We can decipher good from evil. We have free will. We have the capability of higher level thought. A lot of people don't use it. We have the capability of that. And that sets us apart from the other animals in the animal kingdom. Okay? And part of that free will is a lot of times people will turn away from their God instinct, from their animal instinct, from their internal knowing, from their GPS system. And so we have a lot of people that are born infinite beings in helpless bodies, whole, perfect, and complete, but their family can't see it. Their family is defective. Their family has been perverted. Their family is perverted. Their family is swimming in shame and trauma. And so this helpless being comes into this world, and maybe it was you, it was me. This helpless being comes into the world, whole, perfect, and complete, in this infinite but helpless simultaneously. And isn't that the great paradox? Isn't that the concept of God? God is everything or God is nothing. And I am both infinite and powerful and completely helpless and powerless. Am I not as a baby? And so as a baby, you are looking to everything outside of yourself for, how do I get along in this world? And all kinds of things begin to inform that. The music, the movies, the media, the news, the environment, the judgments, the energy, the feelings of the people around you. You pick up all kinds of things you don't even realize you're picking up. How should my body operate? How does this work? How does money work? How do jobs work? What's my belief about this? What's my experience with that? And all of these things begin to inform who you are. And you begin to unconsciously build an identity out of them. And all of these things make up who you think you are. But remember, you were already born whole, perfect, and complete. Unique. Individuated yourself by design. So all of these things that you are picking up from this external seeking, which is necessary for survival, mind you, when you're young, all of this external seeking and all of these pieces are layers that you are adding to yourself. Stack, 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 stack. This is how I have to be to get love. This is who I need to be to fit in. This is what I have to do to survive here. Oh my God, I noticed she doesn't like it when I do that. I better not ever do that again. Oh wow, they think I'm too much. Let me dim my light. Let me turn down the volume of me. And all of these things start to be pulled in. And they're probably not even true. Okay, because you were born to people that were born in Oz. Who were born to people that were born in Oz. Who were born to people that were born in Oz. And this stuff goes layers and levels deep. You have within you genetic information at least 7 generations back. There are things that when you go through trauma, it is hardwired into your neurology. It actually affects you energetically. And so there are things that you as a being were born into. You were born through this shroud of past experience from your family. And then at some point, right, like you're getting bigger and, ooh, now you're potty trained. Woohoo. And then at some point, you probably go to school because that's what they say you should do in order to fit in and to be successful in this land called Oz, right? So then you go to school and you begin to look at all the people at school for how they get along in the world. This has always been really confusing to me. No, ma'am, I'm busy. I'll be out in a moment. No, ma'am, throw it away. It's gross. I love you. I'll see you in a moment. So you go to school and you pick up all of these other things, but whose things are they? Are they yours? Are they even your teachers? I used to teach and I can tell you that no, like I actually had things I was just required. I had to fit in a box. And whether or not I liked it, whether or not I agreed with it, I had to fit within a box. And so the kids that I was teaching got a boxed education, largely. Who's determining that box? And so there's more layers that are added to you. And you pick up all of this stuff. And at that point, you know, you're in school, you probably have a completely different family dynamic. Maybe you're like me, maybe you were a latchkey kid. I would come home after school, let myself in, take care of myself, right? Maybe you had neglectful or not present family. Maybe you had abusive family. Maybe they left. All of these things inform your identity and your perception of yourself and your perception of the world. Okay, and then you become a teenager. Then you become a teenager. And as a teenager, and actually it starts probably before then, it probably starts about 10. You know, yeah, you're peer group becomes more and more important. Your parental figures become less and less important. You're really looking to that group that you want to fit into, that you want to belong to, for what to do. Now, the really interesting thing about this is in school, we pair kids by age group and we put all the same kids at the same age together. We call it socialization, even though it's the only time in their life that they're going to be with a group of people that are exactly their age. And I wonder, in a group like that, for your, you're there to socialize. Who is guiding the socialization? You have a bunch of kids that do not have fully formed brains yet, fully formed frontal lobes, fully, they just don't have the life experience, and they're supposed to be learning how to socialize from one another only. So you've got that going on. And then if you're lucky, hopefully the trauma hasn't hit you yet. Thank you for the banana. I appreciate you. I'll be out soon. Hopefully the trauma hasn't hit you yet, but for most people it has. For most people, there's been some thread of it, whether or not you could see it, whether or not you knew it was trauma, whether or not you knew it was affecting you, has been going on for a long time. And then you go to high school and you start to try out relationships of your own. And so here's where the really interesting thing happens that I want to talk to you about today. See, sometime between 10 and, I don't know, it can happen at any point in your life. You hit a point where you're like, okay, I need to be my own person. I need to make my own decisions. I need to take on more responsibility for myself. I need to be living my life. And so you look at the things that formed you. You look at the teachers, you look at the experiences, you look at your parental figures. It's a really good place to start right there at home, right at the people that conceived you. And you look at that and unconsciously, so consciously you're like, well, gosh, I need to step into my own life and I need to be me. Unconsciously, what's happening is you're giving yourself two options. It's either, wow, I really loved how they did that and that made me feel wonderful, I'm going to duplicate it. Or it's like, no, I don't agree with what they did there, I'm going to defy that. And you end up defying or duplicating. You end up going in the complete opposite direction, or you end up copycatting it. Now, here's the thing I want you to get. When we are defying or we are duplicating, we are giving ourselves but two options. Two options. Out of an entire sea of possibilities, which really, the possibility of being you, just wholly you, is out there. So as long as we are defying or we're duplicating, as long as we're like, no, I refuse to be that. See, when you're refusing to be something, when you are in resistance to something, that which you resist persists. And a lot of times you might think that you are actually defying or being different than the system that you grew up in. But because you're so much in defiance, you are actually perpetuating and participating in your own trauma ripple, your own trauma system. And then on the other side of things, where you're intentionally duplicating. When you are intentionally oh, I saw that worked really well for my grandpa. I'm going to copy that exactly. You're negating the fact that you are not your grandpa, and this is not grandpa's time. The different world events going on. Okay? So this is one place that Oz will have us pigeonhole ourselves and chop us off from our real potential and who we're really here to be. So the way that you actually step out of the cage of am I defying or am I duplicating? Start asking that question. Where am I defying how I grew up? Wow, if I wasn't so staunchly opposed to it, if I didn't insist on being on one extreme or the other, being such a black and white all or nothing thinker, maybe there's a whole realm and a whole gradient of possibility. So maybe your parents got divorced a whole bunch of times each, and you're like, I'm going to be serial single. Well, that's in complete defiance, and you might be robbing yourself of a wonderful opportunity to have a partner and really grow in that. You could be robbing yourself of that kind of great experience. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's like the other thing. My grandparents were together for 54 years, even though they were awful to each other for a lot of it. So I had to recognize where I was defying that kind of pattern by being like, peace, I'm running all the time. See, there's a whole realm of possibility. There's a whole realm of options that are available for you that do not include repeating the same patterns over and over and over again. And you just don't need to live in that space. Outside of Oz, there's a whole new world for you. All right. I'm going to keep this one short because Lily is needing my attention. But I invite you to try this on today. What else is possible for you? What else is available for you when you're not letting yourself get stuck in this space? And, you know, if you relate to this Oz place, if you feel like maybe you came from there, are you maybe ready to leave? Because I promise you, like, just because it maybe feels like it hasn't been working for you, well, maybe you're not plugged into the right kind of system. Maybe it hasn't worked for you because it's designed to not work for you. All right? And you can actually follow that yellow brick road out of that Emerald City of Oz and back into the wild unknown, back into the great beyond, where the truth of you and your existence and the life that you're actually designed to have exists. So come join us. Be Space on Telegram and on YouTube as well. I hope you guys have a beautiful day.